5422. AMP2.TV, the first and only internet television network that's truly plugged in. 866-224-5422. That's AMP, the number 2.TV. The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
You are listening to Connections, a place to learn about and celebrate creative approaches to healthcare, education, and wellness. Each week, we explore new ways that creativity can reach and connect individuals in all stages of health and wellness. Join us as our host, Bree Gordon, board-certified music therapist and managing partner with the Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute, interviews professionals, volunteers, and community members from healthcare and educational backgrounds. If you are at home or near a computer, you can join us via live streaming video at facebook.com/connectionsbyaria. We hope you enjoy the program and find new ways to bring the joy of creativity into your life and the lives of those you love. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You are listening to and watching Connections. I'm your host, Bree Gordon, board-certified music therapist here locally in beautiful, sunny South Florida with the Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, whether you found us at 95.3 FM, 1470 AM on iHeartRadio, or on our Facebook Live channel. I'm so glad you did. If you are home and you are not behind the wheel and can have full use of your hands and eyes and attention, I do encourage you to check out our show on our Facebook Live video, facebook.com/connectionsbyaria. There you'll find this live video feed, as well as all of our archived past shows as well. And we've just had some amazing, amazing shows. It's kind of just incredible for me when I think back and think about all the conversations that I've had. In fact, even our guests today, I realized from Facebook memories pops up that they were actually here in studio at this time 2 years ago. So it's amazing over the last 2.5 years. Just the wonderful conversations that I've had the opportunity to have, really highlighting this idea of creativity and using creativity as a way to reach out and to connect with others, to reach others, to comfort others, which, as we've been talking about over the last few weeks, has been increasingly important. In fact, just it seems like almost every show that I've had has touched upon this topic, that when other things fail or words fail or other things don't seem to reach the way or seem appropriate, there always seems to be a place for music, for art, for dance, for all these different creative approaches, which makes me feel really honored to be a part of a field that embraces all of this. So last week, that was a big focus that we had. We were able to upload the video from last week's show the day after the show. So if you did miss it, the live video stream last week, I do encourage you to go back on our Facebook page and watch that in its entirety, because it was an extremely powerful show. I was fortunate enough to have one of my best friends on, Shoshana Orjano, who is a board-certified music therapist with the West Palm Beach VA Medical Center. And while we were talking about a general topic of using the arts, specifically music, to address those who have experienced trauma in their lives, she was applying that to her work as working with veterans that have PTSD, and also talking about this incredible event that she has coming up, the West Palm Beach VA Medical Center Creative Arts Festival. So together with her other team of creative arts therapists, the art therapists there on staff, they have been working with these veterans over the past several months to create visual art, to create songs, whether it was a cover song or writing new songs, writing raps, whatever that is, writing poetry, making videos of their work, and they will be displayed right there in the VA Medical Center. I was fortunate enough a few years ago to get to be a judge, which was a really ridiculously difficult job to judge all of this work that was just amazing. And I just wanted to say everything wins, but of course you can't do that when you're a judge. But it was a tough job, because not only was I getting to appreciate the creative expression of all these individuals who were, just brave enough to be vulnerable and share themselves through art, but the artists were there, standing with their pieces of work, standing by their song lyrics, standing by their painting, standing by their sculpture, and were able to share with you what the inspiration behind that was and where that came from and why they wanted to share that piece. It's a really, really incredible event. Of course, I started talking about this event without looking up on my phone when it is. So when we come back from a commercial break, I will absolutely let you know. But it is open to the public. I believe it's coming up, I want to say within the next week. So I want to check that out. But again, you can hear Shoshana talk more about that on our Facebook page at facebook.com/connections by Aria. We're going to talk to some amazing guests in just a moment here after we cut to our first commercial break. Before we do that, I just want to set up personally why I'm so excited for this topic today. We're going to be talking about aging and creativity and how it promotes not only this idea of living with passion, living with purpose, living on purpose, you know, which if you have listened to the show before, you know that I am incredibly passionate about as my muse and my creativity and as it applies to aging has been my own grandmother, who turns 96 in a few months and who is just I joke, but it's really not a joke anymore. She really is like the healthiest person in our family. I don't know anybody else who like just is completely just, you know, she does not have physical ailments. She is doing so well. I don't believe she takes a medication. I mean, it's incredible, the strength of this woman, but unfortunately is dealing with losing her eyesight. And because of that has had to, in the last 2 months, retire from a job that she has worked 5 days a week since 1945. And this has been a really difficult transition for her. And I know that she's not going to work because she's calling me during the day, which is funny. I got a call during the day today, and I think, is something wrong? She never calls me during the day. I really got worried for a moment, and then I'm like, oh yeah, she's not working till 5 o'clock anymore. My whole entire life, up until December, I could not reach my grandmother before 6:30 because she was at work, you know, even on Saturday. That was the life I knew for my grandma. So she's adjusting to that. She's, you know, trying to find her new role now, coming into her 96th year. But because of who she is and what she's done and what she's taught me, it's really just empowered me in my field to just want to encourage this energy and this passion in people my age as well. I mean, we're all aging. This is not something that is reserved to the day that you receive your AARP card. We are all everyday aging, no matter what part of the life cycle you are in. And it's all up to us to find that passion and purpose that propels us through life. So we're going to be talking about that today. We're also going to be talking about art therapy, which, if I haven't shared this so far on the show, is kind of a new endeavor that I'm embarking on as our practice has recently acquired an art therapy practice, and now I'm in the process of offering these holistic creative arts therapies programs to the community, to the medical educational community, both the music therapy and the art therapy piece. But I'll be honest, I've been waiting to talk to the guest that we have on show today about this because I am just kind of flying by the seat of my pants a little bit. And I know that Dr. Levick is going to just put me, and she can do it live on the air too. It's fine. Like, put me in my place. Like, that is okay because I am going to learn from the best. I am so excited. Not only am I learning about the field of art therapy, but I've also been really honored to partner with Raquel Farrell-Kirk, who's a great friend of the show, been on the show many times before to talk about her work in art therapy, particularly as it pertains to working in mental health and to working with seniors with neurodegenerative disorders as well as her school, Evolve Community Learning, that she runs and integrates the arts into, which is incredible. Raquel has set up this volunteer holding of space, basically, that is being run by registered and board-certified art therapists with music provided as support by board-certified music therapists at the Coral Springs Art Museum, which is right down the street from the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, where the events took place of the tragic school shooting, of which we are all still, even a week and a half later, or No, not even. No, my goodness. I'm like losing total track of time, not even a week later. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. I am
2
totally
weeks.
losing track of time.
Valentine's
Wow.
Day, yeah.
Clearly, you can see reeling in this. It's not just close to home, it's home. So as a community, I've been so proud to be a part of these creative arts therapists that have reached out and have been, working with these children and the community and their parents as they've come in and created stars over the past week. And dedicated their creations in the memory and the honor of someone. So we are continuing that. It continues throughout the day today and will be throughout the day tomorrow as well. So if this is something that you know of someone in your community who would benefit from this, please let them know. Again, it's at the Coral Springs Museum of Art. Healing with Art will be taking place tomorrow. It's our last day. Again, a space to create in a therapeutic environment, and I'll be there also to provide some comforting music. So it's been powerful to be a part of that. There are a million things going on throughout our community. As I said last week, I do want this show to also be a place where we can share those resources. So if you know of something that's going on throughout the community that would be a comfort to those, mentioned Tomorrow's Rainbow on last week's show, and the great things that they're doing there, please post it there on our page under the video, or you can call into the show, 888-565-1470. We'll keep talking about some of these resources as they pop up. I'll be checking the Facebook feed. If you do, let us know there. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight. We're going to cut to a quick commercial break. When we come back, I cannot wait to introduce you to my two wonderful guests. It's been 2 years since they were on the show last, and they've been doing a lot since, so I can't wait to catch you up on their lives. We'll be right back. Are you a music therapist or part of the music therapy community? If so, we're excited to announce Aria. Aria is a mobile app that provides tools, resources, and community for today's modern music therapist. You can plan, implement, and share music therapy interventions with the community, keep track of your schedule and contacts, and learn from other members in our community section. Best of all, Aria is free. Visit arianow.com to get started today. The Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute is a professional music therapy practice serving medical, community, and educational settings throughout Southeast Florida. With our experienced team of 11 board-certified music therapists, we use music and research-based therapeutic interventions to help individuals of all ages and abilities reach their goals and increase their quality of life. For more information on our services and programs, please visit our website at pbmti.com. Engage with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or call us at 561-747-9944. You are listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. If you'd like to join the conversation, the toll-free number is 888-565-1470. Now back to the show. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You are listening to and watching Connections. I'm your host, Bree Gordon. I am just so thrilled if you are listening live in this moment or get a chance to revisit later, because one thing that's been so cool on this show is not only to meet so many individuals, and the show's been such a platform for that, but to get to follow up with people after a few years too, which is an awesome opportunity. Our Valentine's show, actually, just a few weeks ago, where if you didn't catch that, I would highly recommend that, because how I managed to get my fiance on the show with a couples therapist on Valentine's Day, I will still never understand. But that was just one of the most fun hours I think I've ever had. Again, all those shows and more are archived on our Facebook page, facebook.com/connections by Aria. But Nikki, who was the LMHC, the licensed mental health counselor on the show, also an adventure counselor, had been on a few years back to talk about things that she was working on in adventure counseling, and so it's really, really neat to catch up with her, and she had actually offered off on the show adventure therapy for an employer that was could call in and talk about how great their team was, but how their team was just in need of a chance to connect and bond outside of the office. And it was really cool to see the caller who had won that and see their team go through that. And just to see the connections that we make in this moment go beyond this room is amazing. And this is an example of that today. My two guests today, I met with the purpose of getting to introduce and talk to on the show, and have been able to keep this relationship with going forward in ways that I don't even think I realized would happen, which is so exciting. So welcome back, Dr. Myra Levick and Candy Cohn. Thank you so much, both of you, for being back on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
So glad to be here.
Oh my gosh. And again, Dr. Levick, you've been on my mind when you emailed about the book, about the new book, which I've been following on LinkedIn and on Facebook, and wanted to reconnect. I don't know if we had this telepathic connection going on or not, because like I said, I've been so excited for this new adventure with art therapy, but knowing probably less than I should about what I'm doing out there in the world. I'm like, who is going to teach me the ropes? And you're the only one for the job. So
thank you.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to have you both on. Candy, I want to start with you because I know since you both were here a few years ago, you have just, it's been so exciting to watch your journey and how you're growing in different positions in the community, different volunteer, but also a new work adventure as well. So if you wouldn't mind just giving a little bit of information about your background, what's led you to the work you do now, and how you're out there in the community.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
I am still doing senior placement, which is part of what I was doing last time I was here 2 years ago. But at that time, I was an independent contractor working through another company. And now, about 6 months ago, I bought my own business.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I have a franchise. It's called Oasis Senior Advisors.
Okay.
And I've also just recently become a certified senior advisor, a CSA, which is, a lot of people don't know about this certification. It's been around for about 15 years, and it's kind of like, instead of just being an accountant, you become a CPA, certified public accountant. It holds that kind of prestige.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So anyone working with seniors can become certified. You have to study, I had to go up to Orlando for a 3-day course and then study a lot, take a 3-hour test, and then I will have to take continuing education credits every year to maintain this certification. So the kind of people that are certified could be geriatric care managers, financial planners, anyone working with seniors, some people that work at assisted living facilities, executive directors, those kind of people. It was a real mix of people in the course.
Absolutely.
So I feel really good about that, because what it gave me was a comprehensive knowledge about every aspect of working with seniors, not just finding them a place to live, which is my area of expertise.
For sure. That makes sense. Not that that's a small niche, because certainly there's probably so much that is involved in that, and what a big decision that is to find that, next place to be. So I imagine that can only just enrich, the connection you have with your clients, but also their family members as well.
Right. So what it does, I'm not trying to do what other professionals that work with seniors do, but I know how to have an intelligent conversation with my clients about many topics involved in this whole journey they're on as a senior. And then I can refer them. I do the senior placement piece. I help them find a place to live, but I know when to refer them to a geriatric care manager or to a certified financial advisor or to other professionals, an elder law attorney, and I can have a conversation with them about the concerns and issues and have the knowledge that I need for that. So that feels really good.
Absolutely.
And then also those professionals I refer to, they want to refer to a certified senior advisor as well. And so those mutual referrals are good, at this quality, this level.
And so important, too, in that we're talking about this holistic approach to care, is to be involved in the community and on a volunteer basis as well, which I know you do, just to know. It's one thing to have the knowledge of who's the right, professional to handle this need, but to know the actual right person for it too. That's so important. So I know you're out there engaging with others on that level as well.
Right. I'm active with the Alzheimer's fundraisers. This past Friday we had our huge brain bowl in Boca.
That.
Yeah, the money's still coming in. We haven't counted it all, but I know it was very, very successful.
Amazing.
And we raised money this year. It was a momentous occasion because we brought 3 organizations together who had never worked together before, even though they're all supporting the cause of raising money to cure Alzheimer's and supporting those with Alzheimer's and their families. So we raised money for the Alzheimer's Association, Alzheimer's Community Care, and FAU's Memory Care Center.
Amazing.
So that was remarkable. So I was on the committee for that. This is my third year, and it was a beautiful event, and we did well with the fundraising. I also am I'm president of Elder Services Resource Network, which is a big organization. We have about 140 professionals who are all in the elder care field.
That's Broward County based?
That's in Broward County, right. And then I'm a member of our kind of sister organization in Palm Beach County, Partnership for Aging, which you are also a member of, Bree, and I believe on the board, maybe.
Oh, no, they've tried. I'm sorry, guys.
I thought you were on the board.
Honorary, no.
Okay. So I'm involved with that, and then I'm on the board of the Arthritis Foundation, and I'm active in the chamber, the Boca Chamber I currently belong to, and so I
So
do.
you're just bored, basically. You just don't have enough going on. My gosh, I understand that, and I know Dr. Levick does as well. I think this is when we talk about that living with passion, with purpose. I mean, yes, we probably tend to sign up for too much at times, but this is how we keep our momentum going. And,
right.
And how did you come to be connected with this lovely lady?
Well, her mom and is a neighbor of mine. We live in the same independent living community, and actually, I'm the senior on the other end of this spectrum. Bree, I'm going to be very close to your grandmother. I'm going to be 94 in a few months.
Oh, my gosh.
And you have to wait a long time if you're a person who can't say no. Heaven help you. I have learned that it's very difficult to say no. I'm always involved in something, and I think that's in keeping with what you wanted to talk about tonight, creativity in aging. And just let me give you a little brief example about how this all come about.
Yeah.
You know I'm an art therapist. You know I was involved in developing the Art Therapy Association and the whole field of art therapy and the first graduate training program. So I come down to Florida with my husband, and 6 years ago I was widowed after 68 years of marriage. And I have two daughters living here, and everyone, a daughter in Philadelphia, everyone said, Mom, come live with me. And I have a lovely relationship with my sons-in-laws, and I decided, let's keep it that way. No living with any children. And so we went looking for independent living. And do you know, Bree, in the 6 years that I am there, I have discovered that we are the first generation to live this long. Your grandmother, I, Candy's mother, who is also in her 90s, and it's an amazing thing. There is absolutely nothing written about what to do with us. People just didn't live this long. I play bridge with a man who is 100 years old. He's in an electric wheelchair, but his mind is sharp. He knows how to bid and gives me hell today, as a matter of fact, because I didn't bid right. But it's just really terrific. And so I've used my art therapy in the sense that I've tried to set up classes. I'm very fortunate. They found out I painted, and I've used the art room there since I lived there, and it's wonderful. It gives me a chance to express my creativity. Right. Then 4 years ago, talking to my children and everybody else, I realized there's no such thing as independent living, and I'm sure your mother's announced that to you also. We're dependent on transportation. If we don't drive, we're dependent on when meals are served. We're dependent on our meds. It's just ridiculous, and I'm not taking many meds. That's not my issue. But we're dependent. Yeah. There is no such thing. And so I decided, well, I've written lots of articles, lots of academic books, 4 as a matter of fact, and maybe I ought to write something about living to this age and not being independent. It's a fantasy. And so what happened was...
If you aren't watching the video right now, again, I do want to encourage you to go check that out, because we are showing. I love how Candy's moving this right now. We'll describe this for radio.
Yeah, I would like you to see, because I designed the cover. That's my art contribution to the book.
I love that. Why are we there? We go.
Yes. You got it.
We figured it out. All right. So for those in the radio world, we're just making the book visible so everyone can see it. Yes, it's incredible.
4 years ago, I was talking to a friend, another fellow art therapist who also taught at a program in California, actually the mirror of our program in Philadelphia. And I said, Max, this just isn't really independent. I said, it's for the birds. I said, it's really not. It's a fantasy. And I said, I really want to write a book about it. She said, you know, I'm 80, 13 years younger than I am at that time. She was 70 in her 70s. And she said, but I'm getting nervous. She's been divorced for 30 years, living alone on Whidbey Island in her own house with her dog, and her children live in different parts of the country, and feeling that she really didn't know quite how to prepare for the future. So we decided to start writing emails and talk about it. Mm-hmm. The emails, we decided eventually, were the chapters to a book. Mm. And so the whole book is our letters to each other. She would make an issue. She would make a comment which would inspire me for my next letter. I would respond and bring up another question, and she would write the next letter. There, after 4 years, we decided we had said it. And what we did was first look, and there is nothing, even to this day, written about this age group, this generation. It's just incredible. One book from the perspective of medicine. But what we did was we compared, and I think that this book represents Max's creativity and my creativity in aging.
Absolutely.
We titled it Dear Myra, Dear Max, a conversation about aging. We talk about our profession as art therapists. We talk about how we met in the field and what we had achieved. She has written many books also, mostly academic, like I have written a few nonfiction, too, as a matter of fact, but primarily art therapy. And they, you know the limited audience for music therapy books and art therapy books and dance therapy books that we were talking about tonight. And so that's how this all came about. And I've tried to engage many people in creative activities, and it's interesting. I have found, for the most part, and we didn't talk about this driving, Candy, but it was interesting. I have found many people our age want to be entertained. Mm-hmm. They really are not used to entertaining themselves or creating for themselves. And there are stories in the book from different residents, and one in particular, she said, Myra, don't you see that everybody here is a has-been? And I was appalled. I said, not really, come on. And she was 100 years old, and you would know her if I told you who, because of course the names are disguised. But it was interesting conversation because she began writing poetry at 96. And I said, my dear, I said, you are a wannabe, and there are many wannabes here, but you have to sort them out. You have to really find them because they're just not very active, and they just don't want to be seen because they're different. So we're coming from a very different background to an entirely new world, and nobody knows what to do with us.
You know what is so interesting, and I run into this a lot when I'm introducing the idea of music therapy with the groups that we do, and typically, honestly, we'll do programs in independent living or, independent living, assisted living, skilled memory care, in the whole spectrum throughout. And the response is pretty much very similar, whereas a little bit of hesitation because, well, I'm not a classically trained musician. That's okay. Everyone has rhythm. Well, I was told when I was 5 to mouth the words that I really can't sing. I've been told that by individuals who are 100 years old.
I'm one of those.
It breaks my heart to hear that. And I think it's to your point that you mentioned is it's somewhere along the line, our creativity gets stifled.
Oh, well, I was on a box all years ago talking about the fact that the schools absolutely inhibited expression of creativity, because if it didn't get hung up on the wall, then you felt that you really didn't make it in the classroom.
Right.
And I remember I had 2 daughters and a year apart, and one had her work hung up on the wall, the other one didn't. And I went into the school and spoke to the teacher about that. I said, I don't understand. This was long before I was in the field. Just didn't make sense to me. And you know what? The one whose work wasn't hung up became an art therapist. The other one who had her work hung up became a juvenile lawyer, which is really very, very...
connect to that on such a personal level. I totally understand that. I just presented to a group of teenage girls, and then we'll cut to a commercial break, that were at a music camp. And my friend runs the choir, and she said, well, I want them to know that they have an option other than being a music teacher or performer that they could go to school for. They don't learn about music therapy in school. So I had shared my story and how I just wasn't competitive enough. You know, and the idea of being this competitive opera singer that I thought I was once going to be was it was hurtful to me almost to go to these auditions and to have that, you know, criticism or that adjudication. I thought, well, that can't be what music's all about. There must be more. There must be a way that I can share my music or that others can receive it in a comforting way that's not judging you.
Well, that's very similar, Bree, to when a patient comes into an art therapy session and says, I have never painted, I can't paint, can't draw a straight line, okay? And do you know, in over 40 years of practice, I have had only one woman patient who did not draw. Because the idea of expressing oneself is so wanted, so longed for. And people are afraid to say anything because they're ashamed. No, I flunked this, I flunked art. I was told not to open my mouth in the music class.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't open my mouth. However, I'm a good dancer. I was a good dancer. The days have gone by. Okay, and I love my art. I painted and painted from the time I was 3. So that there are ways. I'm trying to get these people that I am living with, my neighbors, my dear friends that I've acquired over a 6-year period, it doesn't work that way. They're coming from a generation where if you can't do something, you don't try.
Yeah.
And in some respects, my friend was correct. Some of them are indeed has-beens. They were whatever their husband was, that wife of the president of so-and-so, the doctor, the businessman.
Yeah.
And that was their identity. And to get people of my age to change their identity, not easy.
That's a really interesting point. We're going to cut to a quick commercial break. When we come back, honestly, I'm going to switch gears a little bit. Candy, I think I speak for both. We'd love to hear your advice, and as we're working with the aging community, of how we can continue to integrate that into the process. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. The Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute is a professional music therapy practice serving medical, community, and educational settings throughout Southeast Florida. With our experienced team of 11 board-certified music therapists, we use music and research-based therapeutic interventions to help individuals of all ages and abilities reach their goals and increase their quality of life. For more information on our services and programs, please visit our website at pbmti.com. Engage with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or call us at 561-747-9944. Are you a music therapist or part of the music therapy community? If so, we're excited to announce Aria. Aria is a mobile app that provides tools, resources, and community for today's modern music therapist. You can plan, implement, and share music therapy interventions with the community, keep track of your schedule and contacts, and learn from other members in our community section. Best of all, Aria is free. Visit arianow.com to get started today. You are listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. If you'd like to join the conversation, the toll-free number is 888-565-1470. Now back to the show.
I'll come.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You are listening to and watching Connections. I'm your host, Bree Gordon. Thank you. However you found us, 95.3 FM, 1470 AM on iHeartRadio or on Facebook Live. I'm so glad you did. Every week I have the amazing opportunity to interview different members of our community, both local and even national sometimes as well, which is really cool to see individuals who are using creativity, who are using outside-the-box approaches to address the needs of our community, to comfort, to connect, to reach individuals. And one of the coolest things about it is they're ideas that individuals have and want to share. We want to promote this creativity. And so if you have got an idea, if anything we're talking about with creativity in aging or with just creativity in general, sparks something that you would like to share, please do reach out on our Facebook page at facebook.com/connections by Aria, or you can call into the show at 888-565-1470. I did want to let you know before moving forward, we are going to take a small break from the radio platform, but are going to continue giving updates at the Facebook page. Go going on. So Connections, you can visit us there again at facebook.com/connections by Aria. All right, without further ado, because I know that we could probably sit here for the next 3 hours and
we
talk.
did it for 4 years.
Exactly. Absolutely, for sure. And really quickly, because you were talking about before the break your book, Dear Myra, Dear Max, written by Dr. Myra Levick and by Maxine Borowski
Young.
Young. Thank you. I'm like reading down, like, I'm going to get in trouble.
Young.
Maxine Borowski Young. Perfect.
Right.
Thank you. I love that you use, because we're talking about creativity and aging, and I've done some shows on here, and I've presented on this as well, as technology providing one of the biggest generation gaps that we've seen, but not in this case, because you use technology to have this conversation about aging. I love that. They were all through email, correct?
Yes, all through email. Every one is a letter. Every chapter is a letter. We included a letter from a colleague that was, by the way, dying of cancer, and she put on a show in which she was the queen of denial. It was just touching and poignant and beautiful. We did something else that I think is very interesting. In spite of our age, even though there's a difference, we engaged our children in writing the foreword. So the book has 2 forewords from Maxine's daughter, who is a playwright, and her son, who is a professor of anthropology, from my 3 daughters, the lawyer, the art therapist, and the psychologist. And interesting that my 3 girls decided at the end that they were going to write my profile, which will really throw you. It floored me. I was just flabbergasted when I read it, and I thought, oh my goodness, I failed as a mother, but they made up for it. They got it together at the end. But nevertheless, it was very interesting that we have received letters also. Our children thought the book was wonderful. They thought that young people need to see it to understand their parents, their grandparents at this age. What a difficult time it must be for your grandmother. I know I'm not being able to walk, dance like I did, is very difficult for me. But thank goodness I'm still thinking. But these are things that we need to adjust to. We need, one of the biggest things that Max talked about and wanted me to write about, which I did, was loss. Where your mom and I live, we are surrounded by loss. We walk through the lobby, and they have flowers and vases on the credenza every week for someone who passed away. And every week I walk by and say, please, dear God, don't let there be many vases. And sometimes there's only one. And today I think there were none, and it was wonderful. But how we adjust to this is what it's all about. This is reality. And you know, Bree and Candy, the staff doesn't talk to us about it. I've begged Mary Beth, to talk about it with the group, to have a group, and it's hard for them too, because they are experiencing the same losses that we are, and much younger, and so it becomes an issue. So that's a major part of the book that we discuss. And also, do old women and old men dress up? Do we have a dress code? We still put on makeup. Your mom is gorgeous. I certainly put on makeup, and I don't dye my hair anymore. I've let Mother Nature take over. But those were interesting things as we processed and went through this experience together. For us, it was an amazing creative journey. It really was.
What I'm so excited about, and having the opportunity to sit down with this book, which thank you for sharing it with me, is to be aware of all of those moments that you're talking about makeup and appearance and friendship and loss and all these things that might get missed when we look at the big picture. And love that. I think it's so crucial, not only personally for our relationships, but professionally as well. And I imagine that listening to this, Candy, and the conversations that you have with your own mother and with Dr. Levick must enhance your work and give you new sensitivities to how you approach this.
Tremendous. She's really one of the few people, and I'm telling you this freely, one of the few people that is in touch with us. And you are too, Bree. I can hear you when you talk about your grandmother. I know you're a music therapist. I know what your training is because I worked with someone who was training a music therapist, and I participated. I understand that. But, the things in the book, I was asked, for example, Max wanted to know how I managed my husband's death. And I said, I didn't manage, I survived. And I wrote the chapter, and someone read it, this woman who was talking about has-beens and wannabes with me, and she started to cry. She had buried 2 husbands, and it was interesting that we just got into a very personal very touching experience together, which I didn't put in the book, but I said, maybe I need to take this out of the book. I don't want anybody to cry. She said, no, we need to know that, she said. And she said, leave it in. And discussing it with Max, we agree. But then there are other things that are unbelievable. I mean, these people, we are wonderful.
Yes.
We are amazing.
Yes, you are.
We are a real pain, and you know what? And we certainly wine and dine and everything else, but it is something that is new to all of us, and it's new to the world. They just don't, as I said before, know quite what to do with us.
I want to mention, I'm not quite done the book yet, but what I've read, it has touched me deeply. And what you just said about them not addressing this, because my mother deals with this too. My mother lives in the same place where Myra lives.
And she dealt with losing her father.
And that's how we met.
Absolutely.
And yeah, you know, my mom doesn't talk about my dad's death much. I try to bring it up sometimes, but she doesn't really want to talk about it. Sure. But she has said to me, every day I go down to see who died because they have flowers sitting out. And I said to my brothers,
Sure.
I can't imagine how that feels. Yeah. Every day going to see which one of your neighbors died last night. I mean, and
someone you've played cards with,
right?
Someone you just got to know. It's very, very moving and very touching, and it's something that we adjust to. I'm there 6 years. I still hate to walk in the lobby and see those vases.
But Myra's book is eye-opening, and I said to her tonight, I am not aware of any other books like this written from a senior's perspective. And I just had a brainstorm while we're sitting here. I'm going to have an event. I'm going to host an event for our peers, you know, professionals in the senior care industry. Maybe I'll do it at a senior living facility.
And let me come talk?
Of course.
She's like, and I'll be there.
That's what I'm going to do.
I love that.
Because everyone needs to know about this book.
Yes.
They really, really do.
Oh, I love that.
I must tell you that one of the men met me the other night who bought the book. They invited me to have a presentation of my book. I gave two to the library, and I sold some. And one of the men that bought it stopped me the other day. He said, I am going to bed every night with Dear Myra and Dear Max.
Aww.
He said, I made up my mind, and I am going to read so many pages every night, and then I'll get through the book, and I'm loving it, he said. But I thought, okay, Frank, be careful. You're taking two special women to bed.
But
that's the perfect
what
response.
You just said about them not having any way for you all to discuss this, any forum for that's bothering me. I would love to see that happen. Maybe a music therapist could come in. Something.
There's something a bit called will training. You know, you're in charge. You have your own willpower. And I don't go to it because I think those things kind of upset me more than I learn from them. And at this point, I'm too old to learn. There's another one. There is nothing else, really, that deals with our feelings, because that means bringing in a therapist. First of all, who sets up table easels, and a pot of paint and a brush, and gives them a page from a coloring book. Mm-hmm. And I find this very difficult for me. However, some of the people find it relaxing. They sit there and fill in, and it's okay. But there is no creativity.
Right.
And this is the art teacher they have. It's not my place to say that I disapprove of something like that. And I have no right to disapprove, because some people sit there. About 15 people come in. I guess that's a fair percentage out of 200 that's what we have. And you can't do anything about that. I think it's fine, those that want to go to it. Mm-hmm. But it's not my idea of an art class. Sure. It's not your idea or your idea of an art class. I mean, you know, Candy paints also.
I didn't, and I'm also learning that you dance now, too. So talk about, you know, integrating creativity and unleashing new creativity as we go through life. I'd love to hear about your adventure with that.
Okay. Yeah, I've always been creative. I've loved to paint, and I went to acting school, and I've danced since I'm 5. I did ballet, modern dance, gymnastics. And recently, I started taking ballroom dance lessons because I've always wanted to. But what I have found out since, because of my connections in the elder care industry, have become friends with Judith Simon,
Who's also been on the show before.
who runs
awesome.
the Alzheimer's Project, the alzheimersproject.org, and she uses dance to prevent and treat people with Alzheimer's. So I started to read some of the articles on her website, and then I've been sharing them with my ballroom dance instructor. I knew that exercise helps you prevent Alzheimer's and any disease. Exercise is so important, and I do exercise a lot. But now what I'm reading is the combination of learning something new with the dance. So learning something new, we all know, is one way to prevent Alzheimer's. So with learning dance, you're learning something new. You're incorporating exercise. You're having to memorize the movements.
The challenge which forces the brain to work. Because working with Alzheimer's patients, Candy, I found this, that people, my colleagues, were amazed at the kind of artwork that was produced with this Alzheimer's group.
Right.
It was just amazing. And because I challenged them and because we shared it together, it was usually a group project. I didn't invite individuals, but a group project. They worked with each other. It was just amazing.
Yeah.
And
so I'm so excited about this, and I want to share about it. I'm going to start to write some articles about it, and I'm going to get together with Judith.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And it's not only that you're memorizing these steps, but you have to make decisions. And that's what, there's been studies. It came out in 2012. It was in the New England Journal of Medicine. And so it's, scientific proof behind this. So you're not only memorizing and then going out there and dancing, but you have to make split decisions, especially with ballroom dance, because you're with a partner. And sometimes your partner does something a little different than what you thought you were going to do, and you have to quickly follow and make that decision. So all of that is making the brain function in a way that will help prevent Alzheimer's.
That's the most important thing.
Yes.
That's what bridge is good for, the card playing is good for. Wonderful.
I love it.
And it's fun.
Yeah.
So
and it's exactly, and that's what I always tell people too. And I love that we're talking from music, art, and dance perspective, like in this just triangle of it's just incredible to hear what I know and I see music doing for individuals, and hearing that art and dance are achieving these same goals together. Absolutely. It is just amazing what having these full holistic programs, which is something I'm hoping to achieve in my next journey with enhancing the services that we offer, is just really continuing to unlock this passion, this purpose, this potential in individuals, aging and otherwise.
Right.
You mentioned really quickly before we go to a break, Dr. Levick, you mentioned about the challenging. I've loved having the opportunity to bring these large African drums into like memory care units.
Oh my goodness, drumming is. Have you ever done it?
I have.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I'm
Yes.
asking the wrong person.
It's okay.
I do it too.
I was in a drumming group in West Florida, where I was presenting art therapy, and it was fascinating.
Yeah.
And I've sponsored drum groups at FAU's Memory Care.
That was wonderful.
Yeah, drumming's awesome.
And I love, when I bring into these facilities and to see these individuals who, and I know you've both worked with this population with, kind of stooped posture and head down and eyes closed, and I love to see the staff kind of say, you're gonna put a djembe on their chair, and how they, well, let's just see. And I will never forget this one individual who I honestly had not seen raise his head or make eye contact or speak in weeks in the group, but knew that he was enjoying the music, but not really interacting. Gave him my biggest drum because it fit perfectly on his chair, and it fit perfectly the height where his hands are on it, and he kept the beat for our session for the entire 50 minutes.
Wow.
Just feeling that drum head, feeling the vibrations of it, the idea that he was, had a direct response on the sound that was impacting those around him. It was incredible.
Bree, I'm going to share something. The first time I ever saw the power of music was in the first place that I worked in, a psychiatric unit. One of our residents played the piano. We had a piano, and we also had, as an inpatient at the time, a young schizophrenic woman who just sat, would not talk, totally, almost catatonic. He started to play the piano during lunch. She got up and danced and said something. It was overwhelming.
Wow.
Everybody, we were almost all in tears. Everybody in that room was just spellbound by her. And because he just sat down and played, it was just beautiful.
Sometimes it just takes finding that connection, whether it's through music, through art, through movement and dance, through kindness, through a hand touch, through whatever it may be. It's just trying different things. I think that's what this is all about. Just find what reaches someone, right? We're going to take our last quick commercial break. We come back. We're going to, I think, I'm totally losing track of time. Oh my gosh, it's going so fast. We're going to talk really quickly about the book, how you can find the book, how you can get in touch with Candy. We'll be right back. Aria is a mobile app that provides tools, resources, and community for today's modern music therapist. You can plan, implement, and share music therapy interventions with the community, keep track of your schedule and contacts, and learn from other members in our community section. Best of all, Aria is free. Visit arianow.com to get started today. The Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute is a professional music therapy practice serving medical, community, and educational settings throughout Southeast Florida. With our experienced team of 11 board-certified music therapists, we use music and research-based therapeutic interventions to help individuals of all ages and abilities reach their goals and increase their quality of life. For more information on our services and programs, please visit our website at pbmti.com. Engage with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or call us at 561-747-9944. You are listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. If you'd like to join the conversation, the toll-free number is 888-565-1470. Now back to the show. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You are listening to and watching Connections. I'm your host, Bree Gordon, here with some wonderful ladies. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to have you both, Candy Cohn and Dr. Myra Levick. Thank you again so much for taking the time to be here tonight.
Thank you. It's been wonderful.
Absolutely. My pleasure. And like I said before the last break, I'm totally losing track of time because if we weren't stuck to this hour, my gosh, I'm pretty sure we would still be here at 11 o'clock. Talking about this is clearly what we're talking about tonight, creativity and aging, living with purpose, living with passion, helping others find their purpose and passion is something that we really all obviously hold very dear to our hearts and not only personally but professionally as well. Dr. Levick, I do want to give you an opportunity to tell people where they can find your book.
The book is on Amazon.com.
Okay.
And we already have 6 reviews and we're 5-star rating,
Awesome.
which is very exciting.
Yes.
And we're excited because we have gotten letters from people, and the reviews are from all ages. It's just not aging people that want to read this, that they are, but this is what our daughters and our children said it is for younger people, too, that they are getting a lot out of it. And that's really exciting for me, to write something at this point in my life that means something personal.
For sure.
When I've been writing academic stuff all my life in textbooks. It's been a very exciting adventure for me and for Max. It was something we both tremendously gained from and enjoyed, and it's the journey that we're still going. We're still trying to get it out to people. As we said, there's just nothing out there like it. And it's a conversation, literally. Yeah. And we'd like people to join in on the conversation. And I
love that it's technology that you use to have this conversation through email. And again, when I had the opportunity to present on really, I presented on my relationship with my grandmother and why that connection between millennials and the greatest generation is so important. And I presented to a room of millennials, about 100 of them, tech professionals, and I thought, I don't know if this is going to go anywhere, if anyone is going, I just don't know. I have no idea who this will touch. And I was blown away by the response that I got, by individuals in my peer group that were, I'm going to see my grandparents this weekend, and I'm looking at this visit with a whole new lens. I'm looking at different ways. I'm going to record their conversations. I want to ask them their stories. I want to open these ways that I can connect with them. And so, in other words, the need is out there. The want is out there for children, grandchildren, for all these generations to connect. And I think sometimes they just don't know how to.
One of my grandsons gave my husband a journal for his 80th birthday. My husband wrote some things in it and left it for me to complete, which I've been working on off and on. Also, when my husband died, I made a journal of his death and how we celebrated his life and didn't have a memorial. And I made it for every grandchild and child in the family. And I am amazed they're keeping it on their coffee tables. And it's been an influence even to my young grandson, who was just 13, who commented on it. And he's been reading it, which just amazes me. And so we are connecting with our older people. They connected with me and with my husband before he died, and it's just been a lesson for me.
What a thoughtful gift. Candy, in our last few moments, who needs to know you? Who is the perfect audience for you, and how can they get in touch with you?
Anyone who's looking to move to senior living, and by senior living I mean independent, assisted, and memory care communities. They used to be known as facilities. We do not call them facilities because they're not. They're communities. They're beautiful. So my services are free. This is really important. Kind of like a realtor who specializes in senior living. And I go with the people. I go and do an assessment, get to know my clients. I become their advocate, and I stay with them throughout the process. I schedule the tours at the communities that would be the right fit, that they can afford, that have the activities they want, and that can help them with the activities of daily living they need help with. And I schedule the tours, I go with them, I drive them if they want, and I help them understand all the, make the comparisons, because it's overwhelming and there's a lot of emotions flying during this whole thing.
And you have lunch.
Sometimes we have lunch, yes.
That's important. Absolutely. And how can people get in touch with you?
And people can find me, they can call me, 954-540-2595, or visit my website, southflorida.oasisssenioradvisors.com, or email me, cohn@youroasisadvisor.com.
Thank you, ladies, so much for coming in, for taking the time, for sharing this, again, a topic we're so passionate about. If you missed any part of our conversation, please go check it out on facebook.com/connections by Aria. That's where we will be continuing to update you from now on. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, ladies, thank you for being here, and have a wonderful week. Thank you for listening to Connections. We hope you enjoyed today's program and discover new ways to bring creativity into your home or place of work. If you have any questions for our host Bree or today's guest, please email them at bree@pbmti.com or call at 561-747-9944. Thank you for sharing the music with us.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were